Anthony, thank you for coming down to Bristol.
Pleasure.
Just a few questions. You've had a distinguished career as a management consultant, chief executive, executive chairman of Bunzl, chairman of Whitbread, and Reed Elsevier. To what extent do you think generic management skills are transferable across different businesses?
Oh, I think without question there are a lot of skills which are transferable across different businesses. But I think there are some which are a lot more difficult. There are some barriers which are a lot more difficult to cross than others. For example, if you are an executive in a distribution business, to transfer to a company which is building nuclear power stations would be a very considerable gap to breach, because the decision-making processes of the company is really quite different.
That leads me on to the next question. How important is specific industry experience in your view to successful management?
I think it depends a lot on the situation that you're in. In this period of particular economic turbulence that we've been in, some industry experience has proven very useful to people, because when you're in a very, very difficult economic position, your immediate reactions, you can't take any time to learn about a business. You have to act, and you have to act quickly. And so industry experience can be very helpful to that.
You're credited with turning Bunzl, which was nicknamed Bungle by the city, into a highly successful global business. You're the chairman of a company which has successfully turned around, that's Whitbread, and a company which is in the middle of turnaround, or the midst turnaround, that's Reed Elsevier. What are the key lessons from your experience for a newly appointed chief executive charged with turning around a company?
Well, the important thing for a new chief executive is to really get on top of the business. So you have to spend a lot of time at the beginning listening to people. But you mustn't spend too much time doing that, because you've got to be bold. And I think there are three times you can make important decisions. You can be too early, just at the right time, or too late. Well, you'll never be just at the right time, and it's better to be too early than too late. So be bold.
Reed Elsevier is an Anglo-Dutch company. Does this duality add to management complexity? And if yes, how does it add to it?
Well, inevitably a little bit, because we have two boards. We are two separate companies that own the operating company. So we have two boards of directors, so we have two AGMs. We have different codes of governance in the different places, and we have to comply with both. Both companies are listed in New York, so we have two parallel ADR listings as well. So there are added complexities. We have to have several board meetings a year in the Netherlands. We have a number of Dutch directors. Well, we have actually big majority of international directors anyway, so that's not a hardship, but it restricts the pool so that you are just having Dutch ones rather than perhaps German or French or whatever else you might have. On the other hand, the restrictions that, the complexity that is added there is, I would guess, probably less than the complexity that is being added to, for example, WPP by trying to move its domicile to Ireland.
Turning to acquisitions, what factors contribute to a successful acquisition in your view?
Well, as you know probably better than I, 70% of acquisitions through the whole of my career have been, by academic standards, have always been said to be not successful or to have failed, or whatever the definition exactly is. So the way to be successful is to mitigate that risk more than anything else. And in my view, the way you mitigate that risk is by really knowing the company that you're going to buy, or really knowing the industry that it's in. The more you know, the greater the amount you can mitigate the risk. And if you can get rid of the risk and fall in the 30%, that's good.